Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is my Glasgow vlog from when I visited in February. I didn't really do an intro, I haven't done an outro, so I thought I would do a very quick intro here and then explain what we did each day because it's mostly just photos of what I got up to, mainly because I had Joey with me and I didn't want to make him feel uncomfortable by recording all the time, so yeah. But we went up on the Friday, so we started our journey Friday the 16th of February at the start of my half-term holiday. Our train left Euston at 6:30.
Warrington Bank Quay, Wigan Northwestern, Preston, Lancaster, Oxenholme Lake District, Penrith, Carlisle.
I actually worked on 2 different projects. I took up a little plushy dinosaur that I was making. I decided to give that to Ralph for Valentine's Day, but I wanted to make a mini heart for him to hold. So I made the mini heart and attached that. That was the first thing I did on the train up. And then I made a start on Bo, the Chinese dragon, as well, which is a Toft project. I was within the Toft crochet along for it. But I was like halfway through the crochet along and I hadn't started, so I was wanting to make a start. I got the head done, I got a few extra bits of his head done as well. You can only crochet for so long though on a train. Yeah, I did also actually go for a wander this time because there was 2 of us. I could leave Joey with our luggage and our belongings and I could go for a walk up and down the train. So I think I got as far as first class in one direction and then went to the food cart in the other direction. Got stuck at one of the doors because it wouldn't open for me. But yeah, we had a good trip up. We didn't get to Glasgow until way past midnight. But then we had to get a bus from town to the nearest bus stop to the new house, purely because you can't really drive into the city. It's mostly pedestrianised and it's all one-way systems, so yeah, it was just easier to get the night bus, which was nice and clean, and we actually got on with quite a few passengers from that train, so yeah, it felt okay. I'm always worried about going out at night just in general, so yeah, it was quite nice and calm, which was really good. And yeah, so we got to the house. Ralph actually picked us up from the bus stop because it's down the road. It's another 10-minute walk, I think, from the bus stop to the house, so he came and picked us up and we promptly went to bed because it was very much the early hours of Saturday at this point. But yeah, so journey up was pretty much okay. No real issues there. We've had issues in the past, so yeah, that was good. So on Saturday we took the train into Glasgow town. We were looking at all the charity shops that sold furniture to see if we could find any furniture for the house. It's obviously easier with 2 people looking for furniture than 1, so yeah, had a good look at all of the shops that we could get to. We also visited an exhibition at the Reed building, which is part of Glasgow School of Art. It is the fashion and textiles building, and I think there's other bits in there as well. And it was an exhibition of tutors and technicians, I believe. So Ralph had work in there, which we went to see, and there were some really interesting sculptures, but I don't think I got any photos of them, or I can't find the photos. Maybe I didn't hit the button properly. And I did find, though, some really nice fabric manipulation pieces that were on display, as well as some weaving as well. And the woven pieces that I've got pictures of, so you'll see those, they were made from reclaimed copper. So it looked like they'd stripped electrical wires to get the copper out and then woven those. So you could then mould it into different shapes, which I thought was really clever. So yeah, that was our Saturday. Yeah, not much else on Saturday. We spent a lot of time in town and just walking about, so I did quite a lot of steps. But back home, dinner, bed. On Sunday, we actually took a visit to the local park, which is Barshaw Park. They say it's about 10 minutes walk from 10 to 15 minutes walk from the house, but after all the walking I did on Saturday, I was not going to walk that far. So Ralph drove us down there and we had a really good walk around. It's really peaceful there. There is a huge, I think it's more of a pond than a lake. Yeah, it's a pond. It's a giant pond. There's loads of swans and ducks and everything there. And they're obviously used to being fed as well, because they were all just gathered together waiting for bread pieces. So yeah, it was lovely. And there's a really nice viewing point as well if you walked up the hill, which we did too, and you could see quite a lot of Paisley, because that's the nearest sort of town to us. Yeah, so that was just a really nice little trip to the park. There's so many flowers there as well. Spring was really trying to take hold. There's lots of budding flowers and blooms, so I did get some footage of some of those. But that was our Sunday. Not much else on Sunday. On Monday then, Ralph went to work. Joey and I didn't really do very much Monday. I think we ended up measuring up my craft room, and yeah, basically measured up the craft room, measured the doors, so I knew what area I needed to paint, because I wanted to paint my craft room. Yeah, so measured everything up, drew up plans and everything of where all my furniture is going to go. I did a little bit of crochet as well, because I'm trying to finish a blanket that I started years ago using the Karen X Pantone yarn bundles that you could get. It's now discontinued, and I thought it was a chunky yarn. It's actually an Aran yarn, and I was trying to work it all up into a blanket for Ralph so it would be nice and warm, but it's proven to take a lot more time than I thought. So yeah, measured up, and then when Ralph got home I asked him to drop us at B&Q so we could get some paint. Took a little while choosing the colour because I wasn't quite sure of the ones on the wall, but actually when I took the card into the light I realised that was the colour I wanted. So yeah, went for magenta manicure, which is very much pink. But we got all the supplies we needed. So we got paintbrushes, we got paint roller and tray. I got the coverings that you put on the floor, like dust sheet, and I got overalls so I didn't get paint on me. But yeah, so I then went and got I borrowed steps and a scraper from one of our friends who lives around the corner. On Tuesday I took Joey into Glasgow town again, just the two of us this time because Ralph was back at work. Ralph was at work the whole week, but we could at least experience the house and do some little bits of sightseeing together. So I took him back into town, grabbed ourselves McDonald's breakfast because why not, and realised that they had the breakfast wraps back, so we were well happy because that's our favourite breakfast from there. Yeah, so that's what we had. We visited all the furniture charity shops again. There was a couple that weren't open when we went on the Saturday, so we went and visited those just to see if we could find anything. There was a couple of contenders for what we were looking for, but one wasn't for sale, one was filthy dirty. I don't know if they were going to clean it because there was no sign on it to actually put it up for sale, and the other one I was worried would be too big to actually get up the stairs and therefore into my room. So yeah, didn't end up finding anything, but that's okay, we've still got time, we can keep looking. And we went and visited all of the geeky shops, picked out a set of dice each from one of them just as a little memento really of our time there. And yeah, that was Tuesday. On Wednesday we decided that we were going to have a chill day again. We had planned to actually to go for a walk around the field area opposite the house, but I think the weather was quite poor, so we don't have welly boots or anything up there yet. I wasn't about to go wandering around a wet field in trainers. So yeah, we spent the day indoors. We were just chatting, watching TV. I worked on the crochet blanket still, just to try and get as much done as possible, basically. And I think I did a few more pieces on the Chinese dragon, bow with the Chinese dragon, that I started on the train up. What I did do though is visit a local charity shop, because I was told that there might be a couple of chairs in there that would fit the aesthetic that I was going for. But when I got there, these chairs were huge. I've got a picture of them. They were just enormous and they didn't look comfortable either. But I did have a good look around the shop. There was quite a few nice pieces in there. Some of the sofas though, I tried to sit in them and then couldn't get out of them, so they're not going to be any good for us. But it's definitely somewhere we can check back in later, and it's only down the road as well. I got a bus there, so I walked to the end of the road and got a bus from the end. It's a straight road, and then because it was quite nice when I left, I walked back. I think it took me about 45 minutes. It's not far, and I'm not a very fast walker, so yeah. But that was my Wednesday. And then Thursday, I took a trip on my own. Joey didn't want to come with me, to Greenock, to the Wee Crafty Owl, so that I could try and pick up some yarn to go with this giant blanket that I was doing, because the yarn I'd taken with me was chunky and I realised it wasn't the same weight, so it wasn't going to work, and I wanted something to go with it. So I went and got 2 giant balls of Starcraft Special Aran with wool, because the Karen X Pantone is actually acrylic merino nylon, so that should hopefully go quite nicely with it. And because of the time that I was there, Knit and Natter was on about an hour, maybe half an hour after I left the shop, so I did go back for that. Met some really lovely people. I even had a lunch at cafe. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. I'll try and remember. There's a little cafe literally opposite. So I went in there and had some lunch to myself. Went to Knit and Natter. And then when I got home, back at the house, I was sitting down for a little while and I thought, right, I'll check the time for the Knit and Natter, the knit night at the Yarn Cake, which is in West Glasgow, and realised that I'd got my times completely wrong, and it wasn't from 7 till 9, it was from 5 till 9. It might have been 5 till 7, I don't remember, or 5 till 8. Either way, I was running late, but I went straight there as soon as I realised I was therefore late. Yeah, I went straight there. Had a really good night. Continued with the dragon as well. I think I was working on the tail at this point. I'd started the tail at the Knit and Natter at Greenock, and then was working up the body when I got to the Yarn Cake. So I made really good progress on that, and it was a really good start for conversations as well whilst I was there. So yeah, had a really nice time. And they do PG Tips Pyramids as tea, which is my favourite tea. So yeah, very happy. Finally on Friday, got some polyfill to fill some cracks in the wall that I wanted to paint. So filled all the cracks in. Joey helped me sand it all down. We had to have the windows open because it was everywhere. And then I set about painting the wall. I managed to put, I think, 2 coats on the Friday. Left it to dry in between, and then we went for Ralph and I went for dinner at a Japanese restaurant with some friends, which I really enjoyed. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, and I did, so you might be going back in the future. Finally, it was Saturday, which was the day we were heading home. And what had actually happened is the night before, on Friday night, I'd received an email saying that our train home was cancelled, so we'd made arrangements to get an earlier train. So we got to Glasgow Central a lot earlier than we were supposed to for our train. Our train home was supposed to leave at 6:30 that one was cancelled, so we arranged to get the 4:38, I think it was. And then when we got there, it then said that that one was cancelled. So I went to speak to the operator, and they said that yes, that one's cancelled, but the 6:30 had been reinstated. So we stayed and waited for the 6:30, and then it was getting closer and closer to the 4:38 arriving, and that came back on the board as being reinstated. And then the 6:30 one was only going as far as Preston. So yeah, the 4:38 started boarding, and I went to see the guys again, and I was like, what is going on? We were told that the 6:30 was reinstated, but it's only going as far as Preston. Is this one going all the way? Can we get this one instead? And they said yes. So we jumped on that train. Basically, I just said, we're getting on a train. That's it. We're just getting on a train. Ralph had gone off to do something, and he was going to come back and say goodbye to us because we were going to get the 5 o'clock train instead. But yeah, so yeah, bittersweet. We weren't able to say goodbye at the time, but we did make it home. We actually went and stayed at my parents' house that night, purely because it's easier to get off at my parents' home and walk the 5 minutes up the road, so at my parents' station, and walk 5 minutes up the road to their house, than it is to get off at either of my local stations and walk 45 minutes up the road in the dark at gone midnight, which I was not prepared to do. So we went to my parents' house, and they kindly took us shopping on the Saturday, the Sunday, to get food and fill up the freezer because we had no food. Yeah, and then dropped us home. And when we did get home, we found out that the freezer had actually defrosted because the electric had gone. We had no electric on. Yeah, so it was quite manic coming back, but we did it. And yeah, so this isn't as long as previous vlogs, but I still wanted to give you an idea of what we got up to. Yeah, so I'll see you all again in the next one. Take care. Bye.